When we're solving inequalities, first of all, we want to know what's the value of x that makes the top equal to 0. What's the value of x that makes the bottom equal to 0? In my case, the number that makes the top equal to 0 is 6. The number that makes the bottom equal to 0 is -3. So on my number line, I'm going to put my numbers in order from small to large. Notice how this thing broke my number line into 3 sections. Those 3 sections, I'm going to see which sections do work. So let's take a look. I'm going to choose for the first section anything less than -3. Any number less than -3. I'm going to plug it into my inequality. All right, in this case, let me think of -4, just to think of a number. All right, -4 minus 6, that gives me a negative value. I'm just worried about the signs at this moment. All right. Once again, I'm thinking of -4. -4 minus 6, that gives me a negative value. -4 plus 3, that gives me a negative value. Once again, I'm just worried about the sign. This thing, it says it's greater or equal to 0. Is a negative divided by a negative greater or equal to 0? I know negative divided by negative is positive. So yeah, positive, it is greater than or equal to 0. So I'm going to put a check mark. It did work. Now let me think of any number between -3 and 6. Any number. In my case, let me think of 0. Right? Any number between -3 and 6. So once again, I'm thinking 0. 0 minus 6 gives me a negative sign. 0 plus 3, that gives me a positive sign. And this thing, it says, is greater or equal to 0. Negative divided by positive, it's negative. A negative greater or equal to 0? Nope, that's not true. Now for my third section, let me think of any number greater than 6. Let me think of a 7, right? Any number greater than 6. Once again, I'm thinking of 7. 7 minus 6, that's positive. 7 plus 3, that's a positive. So this thing, it says the positive divided by positive is greater or equal to 0. Yes, that's true. So this section works. My answer are basically the sections that did work. For my first section, it goes all the way to the left. So I'm just going to write -infinity. Right, that's my numbered. My first section, the number all the way to the left. And it stops at -3. Let me use a parentheses this case. I see there's a gap in between my 2 sections that work. So I'm going to unite them with a capital U. Now my other section, it starts at 6. I'm going to use a bracket in this case. I'll talk about the difference of brackets and parentheses in a minute. I'm going to use a bracket this case. It goes to the right forever, so it goes all the way to positive infinity. Okay. Now the difference between brackets and parentheses. Infinities always have parentheses. Negative infinity, positive infinity always have parentheses. Now the other numbers, the number that makes the bottom equal to 0, so in this case -3, always has a parentheses. The number that makes the bottom equal to 0 always has a parentheses. So with the -3, I put a parentheses. Now the number that makes the top equal to 0 either has a parentheses or a bracket. That will depend on the inequality sign. If the inequality sign has the or equal to part, the number has a bracket. If it doesn't have the or equal to part, it has a parentheses.